Welcome back to Dolor Factor Live. We'll be taking your calls now. So if you have any questions, anything that you want to contribute, any maybe issues of motivation, maybe you've been where we've been speaking at now and you were able to get back on track. Maybe you are in that place right now and you want some help. This is the time for you to call us. I have to say, we are receiving so many emails, I'm not going to be able to get through to them. So if you do need to get an immediate response, the best thing is to give us a call. Okay, let's go straight to the telephone lines. Hello, welcome to Dolor Factor Live. Hello.
Hello.
You're live on Dolor Factor Live.
Yes, I've listened to the program and it's very interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have something you'd like to tell us?
Yeah, well, I say, according to what you're saying, I've seen that I think you gotta be in the situation to really talk about it. You know, some people stay in abusive relationships maybe for so many reasons, you know. And then I think it could be a culture thing, you know, especially in a small place like St. Lucia, you know, what's happening all over the place. And sometimes some of the people don't even have a choice, you know. So they tend to stay in this thing for so long and it goes out to, you know, what happens. But I think what really is needed is more social work on those things, to actually tell people, I mean, to educate them about what's really happening, and you know, and I think not really government, but if there could be an entity or something that can make a difference in people's life, you know, and give them the touch that they need to come out of these abusive relationships. And in terms of jobs, and it's also the same thing. The people sometimes that you think that are there to help you when you get, I mean, in probably the boss and those kind of things, especially the human resource and those things. Those people, sometimes they themselves don't even have the way, or they are not even educated in, you know, the job that they do, and it brings a very negative impact into how the people go out and deal with the very situation that they are in. So I think there is a lot of need for social work in this country, and more education in these things that people will really grasp. And I think the best thing is you have to be in it to really know what you're dealing with. But the most thing, what I can say is, God is the one that really helps people, I mean, and live, especially in a good relationship. That's the first thing that would really make a difference in someone's life. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Now, I understand exactly where, you know, the caller was coming from, but ultimately, even though we have perhaps social workers or social activities and so on and so forth to help, perhaps the problem starts at home, as we mentioned before. Because if we raise our children to accept certain things and don't accept certain things, certain types of behavior, certain mannerisms and so on and so forth, these children, when they become adults, they will not put up with certain things.
That's right.
They will ensure that they educate themselves so that they don't have to remain because there are financial concerns. I know a long time ago it wasn't as easy to get onto certain courses or to get loans and so on and so forth. But as we are now, there are lots of opportunities. But let's go back to the phone. Hello, welcome to Dolor Factor Live.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to make a little contribution towards relationships. Sometimes when you are in a troubled relationship, you're bound to be abusive way. There's a troubled relationship. Bishop McLawrence might know. What you have to do is, like, just pick something like a big surprise to somebody, and then the relationship will be sewed up. You know, Pastor McLaren should know. The 9th of May, Pastor McLaren, can you remember? Mother's Day?
Mother's Day.
And the 9th of May, 2 years ago?
He's trying to put you in a place
yes,
and a time.
I'm trying to remember.
You may have to say a little bit more, viewer.
Well, a good surprise can put a relationship, a bad relationship, in good order. Right now, everything is working fine.
So
Okay.
maybe he's talking about himself.
Thank you.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
All right.
That's great.
Maybe
That's
it may
great.
come to Bishop Miller in a bit
I think I
later
got
on.
it.
You know,
That's great.
but again, we
I
can
guess you fix my life.
again, I mean, we can understand what people are saying, but I think instead of us concentrating on it's happening all the time, perhaps if we are aware of these things happening, we can say to people, okay, you may be in this, but what steps have you taken
Yes.
to try to get out of it? Or not even to get out of it, perhaps to make the
Is it
situation
better?
better or livable. You know, maybe we can say to them, you know, especially if there are children involved, are you sure you're taking this away from the children, that you're not having this discussion or this argument in front of the children? Although, you know, you may start off thinking, you know, be careful of the children around. But
Yes.
the more it progresses, after a while, you don't even care because you're so into this problem or this situation that it's a very difficult place
You're
to
not
be
aware
in.
of the things you see
Yes.
or do.
So I'm,
So sometimes a lot of it is self-centeredness. As people get that self-centeredness, they need now to be able to get to the place where they begin to write, okay, there's a bigger picture.
okay, but okay, let me just talk about one or two of the emails here. People stay in unhappy relationships most times for convenience, for love, hoping one day things will change. 90% of people stay in unhappy jobs because it pays the bills, puts food on the table, or they just don't have a choice because St. Lucia has limited jobs. Now, although that might be a fair statement,
Yeah.
if there is someone who thinks that way and they have a friend who is saying to them, you know, you can't leave your job because there aren't many jobs in St. Lucia. You remain that same place. Let's go back to the telephone. Thank you for calling Dolor Factor Live. Okay, I think we've lost the call. Okay, let me see if I can find the caller for you. Hello, welcome to Dolor Factor Live. Thank you for calling.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
night.
Good night.
My contribution is in terms of relationships. I think first it has to do with the person themselves. A lot of them, they don't love themselves first, and I think that's the main thing. And sometimes you meet somebody and you think the person makes you happy, you're in love, you're on cloud nine, but then something happens and then you end up staying there because you remember what that person did for you, and you're wondering, but what happened? What made the change? But my thing is, because I kind of say I was in something like that, and I started thinking and saying, but what's wrong with me? Why can't I love myself first? And started loving myself. And in doing that, I think I can love more people much better. I can love my daughter much better. And it gives me the strength to move on and to be in another relationship. And I know the signs. If I notice that my relationship now is going down a bad way, I know what to do. But I think the key thing is loving yourself. Like Pamela said, loving yourself first and putting the Lord first. Because sometimes we believe that the Lord is not listening, and He is listening, He's giving us the signs. But we have to love ourselves and open up ourselves for us to see and to hear Him, and for us to get the signs and to understand what He's saying.
Thank you so much for that contribution. That's so solid, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's good because
Yes.
I was thinking of even if you cannot love yourself and you do not think much of yourself,
What can you
then
give
it's
to
difficult
somebody?
to love. Because even as I was preparing for this program, I was going through some notes, and one of the points was coming about loving self. If you cannot love yourself and be, I usually tell my wife, I'm at home in my skin, I'm comfortable in my skin. So you got to get a place where you're comfortable in your skin, you love yourself, so that you can love somebody else.
Okay, I think we're going back to the phones. Welcome to Dolor Factor Live.
Hello, Lady Dola. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice for you to join us. Your statement or your contribution, please?
Yes. First of all, I must say, I'd like to say you have such a lovely dress tonight.
Thank you very
Beautiful
much.
dress.
Thank you.
It's a charmer.
My
The charmer, yes,
to
thank you.
the apostle and your guest.
Hi.
I was just listening, and it's amazing when people stay in those situations. Oftentimes, it's a situation where they've been in an abnormal situation for so long that the abnormal becomes normal in their mind. And the only way sometimes for them to get out, it will actually be needing them to renew their mind. A good example is there was a lady that saw an eagle tied by a gentleman outside his house. And every morning when she was going to work, she felt that this was an injustice. She begged the owner to free the eagle, but the owner refused. After about a few mornings, she took her scissors and cut the rope. Then she took the eagle and pushed it until it fly before he comes. But the eagle would only go as far as the rope used to keep it, even though it's free. So the eagle was in a state of mental imprisonment.
Wow.
And all how she pushed it, it would go straight back to the length the rope was at. So sometimes, although people have the capacity to come out of the situation, but they are in some form of mental imprisonment. So they have the capacity to come out, like the eagle had the capacity to come out, but they're in their own form of mental imprisonment or mental slavery.
It's true.
But I want to tell the listeners out there, if you're in a situation like that,
Get out.
you have the ability to come out.
That's right.
That's my contribution.
That's right.
And a very solid one too.
I
Thank
agree
you
with that.
so much.
Totally.
Because you can visualize exactly what he is saying, you know.
Total agreement with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the thing is, we may recognize these things, but you really need to take that next step. So again, if you're thinking, that's me, what do I do? If you have a faith, please visit your pastor, visit your priest, visit somebody you trust. Even look at government departments. Call maybe the Department of Human Services. Say to them you want to speak to a counselor. Do something.
Yes.
Don't just stay there. If you feel that it's a lack of education, you can pick up a phone. You know, there's so many things. If you don't make that step, it's all well and good where they're talking about things. We're talking about things that you know. Why are we saying the same thing that you know over and over and over again? We are wasting our 90 minutes of precious time, of precious life, if you don't say to yourself, do you know what? I've listened to this program. I'm in this route, and I can make that step. It won't happen overnight. It may take years, but make that step. There are people before you who perhaps are even in a worse situation that you are in, and they made that step. There are people, celebrities who we know have had abuse and everything done to them, but they believed in themselves eventually, and they made it better for them. And then what did they do after they made it better for them? They made it better for other people. Think about it. Now we've closed the entries for tonight's giveaways. We're going to a break. This is Dolor Factor Live. Please stay with us.